everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage. Today is Paper Crafting Saturday and I am Leslie Watkins. I hope you're all enjoying the weekend. For those of you who are at the beach or near the beach, I have a fun card for you today. I'm going to be using Seaside Notions. So let me show you what I have. This is the stamp set, Seaside Notions. And we're also going to be using a 3D embossing folder. This is called Seabed, and it's really pretty. And I think we're going to be using some of these dies from Stitch So Sweetly. We'll see. I have some cardstock cut out already. So I went ahead and I did the 3D embossing, and I think you can see it's just beautiful. It's a really, really nice folder to have if you have any kind of seaside cards or beach cards or anything that requires something with a little coral, seaweed. There's even some starfish in here. It's really pretty and it has really high relief. And this is mint macaron. And I will tell you the dimensions. It is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. Then I have a little piece of very vanilla cut out just for the interior of the card, and this is 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. This is terracotta tile, which is pretty close to Calypso Coral, but I just really like the sort of the muted color of this. This is one of the in colors that's only going to be around for another year. And this one measures 4 by 5 1/4. And then we have a card base, and this is Pretty Peacock. And this is a tent fold card, and this is 11 by 4 1/4 folded at 5 1/2. So I'm just going to begin to assemble the top of the card first, or the front of the card first, and I'm using Tombow liquid glue. Let me just check this for a moment. Okay. Now when you're using a 3D embossing folder, you get these really wonderful patterns in relief, and in order for it to adhere well to the card, you really want to use a liquid glue, because that's going to help get that glue into all of those indentations. And now there's a very small clearance, so I want to make sure I get that nice and straight. There we go. And that just gives us a little bit of added color to complement those cool blues. Give it a good burnish with your bone folder. You want to disperse that glue and make sure you've got really good adhesion. And now just the same with this. Now there is an upside to this, so you want to make sure that you get it pointing in the right direction. There we go. Okay, so my feeling was that this embossing folder was so beautiful on its own that I didn't want to obscure it too much. I wanted to just keep this card nice and simple. So that's what we're going to do. So I have some scrap pieces. This is Sahara sand. And I have some, this might be big enough, of the Very Vanilla. And I'm using Sahara sand ink. And I'm going to use the sand dollar and this nice big shell. Maybe we'll use that one too, I'm not sure. Let's see how it looks. So for the sand dollar, I'm going to stamp with the Sahara sand onto Sahara sand cardstock. And then for the larger shell, I'm also using Sahara sand. I don't think that's going to be big enough. And I'm going to stamp that on a piece of Very Vanilla. And I'm going to grab this other little shell and do the same. Uh-oh. I just used my interior of the card. Let me put this aside for a minute and start again. So here's this one. That's what happens when you've got a very small work area to work out of. And I bet you all saw me do that too. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to fussy cut these things out. And these are very easy shapes to do. One. Now, today is the last day to register for my online classes this month. I did extend it a little bit longer because I had a slight glitch. So if you were thinking about signing up, you still have time. Actually, the real cutoff is tomorrow, but just to be safe. And the way you can find out more is by going to my website, dandelioncottagedesign.com, and you will find a place there to subscribe to notes from Dandelion Cottage. And that is my monthly email that you will get announcing all of that month's classes and how to register. So if you're interested in beginning watercolor, that's going to begin also this month for the first class, and then it's going to continue into August with 4 more lessons. So this is a comprehensive course, and it's a great way for someone who's just learning watercolor or maybe needs to brush up on some of the fundamentals. I'm going to cover it all, so I really urge you to check that out. And I'm also going to have a class featuring this stamp set, Seaside Notions. We're going to make several different cards, and you also get a stamp set with that class. So check it out. And I'm just looking for a sponge here. I've lost my sponge, of course. Here it is, right in front of me. And I'm going to use the Sahara Sand ink. And I'm just going to go lightly around the edges of the seashells and the sand dollar. And this just helps to give it a nice finished look around the edge, so it's not so raw looking. I think I'm about ready to go to the beach. Some nice quiet beach where there aren't too many people. There we go. Okay, so there's our seashells. Now I also want to stamp a sentiment, so I like this thinking of you. I think it's a good idea to have, let me just figure out which one is the one, this one. So I think it's a nice idea to have some kind of generic note cards on hand. So something like this, thinking of you, when the occasion arises, can also be a birthday card or a celebrate or whatever, or a sympathy. There we go. And I'm going to cut this out using, let's clear the deck here a little bit. I'm going to cut this out using this rectangular die with the scalloped edge. Let's see how this looks. That's perfect. Okay, so that's the second from the smallest. I'm going to grab my die cutting machine. Get that in there. In August, on the 4th, just a, how many more days is that? About a week. The new embossing and die cutting machine will be available. And I know a lot of you have been waiting patiently for that to become available. And I just want to mention, if you were thinking, if you're not already signed up and a part of my team, and you want to get that new die cutting machine, it's $120. So if you were to just add on $5 more, say some, maybe some adhesive or something like that, you could sign up and get the stamp, the cutting and embossing machine and your additional $5 item for only $99, which would be a savings of $26, plus get free shipping. So that might be a very good way for you to save some money and join me and the other members of our team. We've got a lot of nice benefits. There are free classes and other discounts and various creative challenges. So if you're interested, just give me a call or send me an email, and I'd love to talk to you about it, and I'd love to have you on my team. Okay, so here we are back at our card, and I'm going to use some dimensionals. Okay, so I'm going to take my sand dollar, make sure I'm going the right way. I'm going to put that over in this corner. Then I'm going to take my larger conch shell and just put that right overlapping slightly. And I'll just put this one over here. Okay, and then here's my, and if you look at the die cut here, you can see that not only is it a scalloped edge, but you also get this nice little stitching detail around the edge, so you really don't need to do much to embellish that. And look at that beautiful script, very pretty. There we go. Now we're going to use the Wink of Stella to give that a little extra sparkle. And the sand dollar and the shells. I don't know if you can catch that or not, but it's just a very subtle little sparkle, not too glitzy, just very, very pretty. And I'm also going to add some of these gems. These are the elegant faceted gems. And there are some clear ones here. So I'm just going to add a couple of these little ones. Maybe one big one. Let's put that up here. Okay, so there's our very simple cover to the card, and I just really think that shows off this beautiful folder so nicely. But we're not done yet, because on the inside of the card, this is going to go in here for you to write your message. I want to decorate this a little bit as well. I think it's always a nice surprise when somebody has something to look at inside the card and also on the envelope. So let me get our very vanilla envelope out. And what I want to do here is we have these little speckles, which look like sand. And I'm going to get out my foam mat to stamp on. Because I'm also going to stamp off. So starting here, just going to stamp that off a couple of times. A little bit more in there, okay. Now I'm adding the smaller seashell over in the corner here. And then I have this coral and I'm going to use for this a different color ink. So let's see. Here's Calypso Coral. And for this, I'm going to stamp off once and then just put that over to the side, like so. Okay, so there's the inside of our card. Very simple. Nothing to it. Okay, so there's that. And the last thing I'd like to do is on the flap of the envelope, do a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to use that coral again. I'm just going to make a kind of an all-over design. So I'm taking a couple of Post-it notes and I'm just going to put those along the fold. See what I'm doing here. Okay, and I'm just going to put a random design here. Get one more. And we are done. There's our card. So thank you so much for joining me today. This is a really sweet and easy, very elegant card that you can make without a lot of effort. And remember to subscribe to Notes at dandelioncottagedesign.com to learn more about the upcoming classes featuring this stamp set and also beginning watercolor. So I'll see you next on Monday for Marvelous Monday. Have a terrific weekend. Stay well and stay creative. All for now.